Welcome back to The Real Deal with Empire. I'm your host, Ali Fawaz, and as always, this is the podcast where we don't just talk about transactions, we talk about transformation, and today's no different. But before we jump into things, I do want to ask you to please like, follow, share, make sure you subscribe because that's how we get our name out there. And once you subscribe, you'll be notified every time a new episode drops. So make sure you do that. Now, today's episode is a very unique special show, in particular because several months ago, we made the business decision to open up an office in Farmington Hills. And our guest today is the Mayor of Farmington Hills. And Teresa Rich is the current mayor of Farmington Hills and a longtime community leader. She holds a JD from Wayne State University and is also the author of several works. Prior to serving as mayor, she served on the Oakland County School Board of Education and the Farmington Hills City Council. She also teaches as an adjunct professor at Wayne State University's Business School, all while dedicating herself to public service. So, Mayor, thank you for joining us. Thank you for squeezing us in here.
Thank you for having me in today. This is a delight.
Of course.
And by the way, thank you so much for choosing to locate in Farmington Hills.
Of course.
That's fantastic.
We did our homework, and the community just spoke to us. So
Great.
Yeah. Well, to kick things off, I guess why don't you share a little bit about your personal journey and what it was that actually inspired you to public service and to run for mayor of Farmington Hills?
Well, thank you for that. So this is a Michigan thing, right? So I grew up here, Benton Harbor, St. Joe area, and my parents were always very civically minded, not political at all, but very much involved in everything, from the Y to the Lions Club to if there was something that we were involved in, they were involved in. Mm-hmm. And so I went from there to Grand Valley, got involved in student government there, got an accounting degree and an MBA, came over here to Wayne State for law school, got hired in by General Motors, first year of law school, stayed on, have 2 law degrees actually, wow. And then later got a PhD in business. And so for me, community service is just part of my DNA. And the truth of the matter is, what attracted me to my husband first was that he was civically involved too. And so now, of course, so are our children. So I've just always been involved in something to make the community better. Now, I will tell you, being mayor was never on my bingo card. I had no intention of running for mayor. I had done a term on council. I was very happily retired from GM and opened a law firm, so I was practicing law, teaching a little bit at Wayne. Life was good. And then people in the community came to me and said, Teresa, we need you to run for mayor. And I, of course, said no. And that did not stick. So I ran in 2 years ago.
It truly was a calling.
Truly, yes. A calling, a tap on the shoulder,
right.
A hit upside the head. But yes.
That's amazing. Yeah, I love that. And now Farmington Hills does have a rich history and a strong reputation as one of Southeast Michigan's premier communities, if you will, right? And so it's very well known. What do you see as the city's greatest strengths in today's world?
Sure. So Farmington Hills, we're the 13th largest city in the state of Michigan. We are one of the most diverse cities of its size in the whole country, 84,000 of us, and we speak 67 languages in our homes. And in fact, for my re-election, I have yard signs in 9 languages. But you know, here's the thing. When I talk to people about what do you love about Farmington Hills, what's our special sauce? There are 2 things we talk about. Safety. Safety's a given. Have to have a safe community. But the second thing is our diversity.
Nice.
And people, when I ask them, why did you choose Farmington Hills? They say, we love the diversity of this city.
Yeah. I think diversity is a big factor. I don't know, possibly more today than maybe it was back in the day. I can tell you, whenever I have these conversations with just your average Joe citizen in terms of, well, what made you decide this was the city for you? And usually the go-to was, well, the school system.
Schools are great.
Now it's coupled with school system and diversity.
Yeah.
school system, and I like that there's a diverse growing and different perspectives and things like that. So that's becoming much more prominent in people's decision-making process on where they want to settle down and make that city home. So yeah, that's pretty important. Now, looking ahead, what's your vision for Farmington Hills over the next 5 to 10 years? Are there particular initiatives or projects that you yourself are most excited about that you'd love to share?
So many, right?
Yeah.
So how long have we got? but so many. So let me start with a couple that are in the area of development. About a year ago, we passed a new master plan. That's something that you're required to do every 5 years. It's how are we going to use the land in our city?
Yeah.
And much of our green space that we will be using for development is built out. I mean, we are protecting our parks, no kidding. But we're mostly built out, and so we're looking at where we already have buildings and what can we do. So for instance, along 12 Mile Road and the freeway, we have big office buildings that have seas of asphalt for parking lots. We don't need parking lots that big anymore if we ever did. And so now what we're doing is we've put in some ordinances so that Farmington Hills can literally grow up. And so put in taller buildings along the freeway with multi-use, so retail on the lower floors, residential on the top. So that's something I'm excited about. Another area is our Grand River corridor. And so if you're thinking the area on Grand River between Orchard Lake and Inkster, this is an area that, shame on Farmington Hills, we let dilapidate. And so when I came in the door, I said, this is not okay. And the first thing we did is work on cleanup. State of Michigan used to be responsible. Technically, they're responsible for the cleanup. But we said we needed to clean this up because if there's trash on the road, you're going to be treating it like trash. And so we had some consultants come in and help us reimagine what could this area be, because it's a food desert today. And my son lived in that area, and if you want to get groceries, Target is the only place in Farmington Hills you can go. And so we're working now on bringing in restaurants. We are trying to attract a grocery store. So anybody out here watching who are business people, we're open for business and we want you. So very excited about the possibilities there. We're working on the streetscape for that, and we are also going to be bringing in public art. Public art's been a big thing for me too. So Farmington Hills was just recently named one of the top 25 places to live by Architectural Digest because of our cultural arts programming. However, the art that we do is mostly indoors. And so we will now this next month be passing an ordinance that developments over a certain amount within certain areas of the city, one small piece of that development price will be dedicated to public art outdoors. And Southfield's been doing that for a decade, and you can really see the difference in Southfield after 10 years of doing this. So 5 to 10 years from now, I look forward to seeing that. And the last thing I want to touch on is the building where we have most of our senior activities. It's called the Caustic Center. And it used to be the only center we had, the only community center before we acquired the Hawk. And it's basically held together with baling wire and chewing gum, and it's beyond its useful life. So during this coming term, I look forward to us taking the learnings we had this term of what is it our seniors need, and then actually starting construction of a new standalone building that will be used mostly for senior services.
Nice. Love that. That's quite a plan you guys have going on. Is there a particular component of that plan that you see taking a priority, or something that's happening sooner than later, something that we should be focusing on now? So if I were to talk to the business community and say, hey, this is what's hot right now, what would that one thing be?
You know, as a city, we need to be able to walk and chew gum at the same time. So I would say it's not a sequential, it's an and. It's really an and.
Yeah.
So when you talk to the business community, the and is if you have something that is a restaurant, we can accommodate 20 more restaurants just in that Grand River corridor.
Yeah.
We're losing $35 million of business every year because we don't have the businesses in the corridor. So, and right?
Yep.
The development along the freeway, zoning's there now. So if this is something
Yeah.
that you want to do, it's an and.
Got it.
And the senior center, listen, we need to provide services. We are an aging community like many in Michigan. We're also a growing community, but we are an aging community. So we need to make sure we're providing the services that our seniors want and deserve.
Love that. Yeah.
Yep.
So the city has seen growth not only in housing but also in the business and cultural opportunities in Farmington Hills. How is the administration working to find that balance between development with also preserving the character and the charm that Farmington is?
Right. Well, and that's why you have the master plan, right? So that we know what is going to be changing. So when we did the master plan, there were a few non-negotiables for us. We learned that we were grossly oversubscribed with gas stations, car washes, and auto repairs. And so we've put into place an ordinance that says unless you're already one of those, you can't be. So unless you're already a car wash, you can't be a car wash, for instance.
Yep.
We also put in some more flex zoning. And so we're still working through getting the ordinances straight on that. But we're looking at some of the areas about, what could we be doing? What should we be doing? Our master plan also has something in for accessory dwelling units, ADUs. And that's going to be the hot new thing because we need to have more affordable housing.
Yeah.
Farmington Hills is not known for workforce affordable or affordable at all housing. And we need to be able to provide housing for all. And so I would say that's something that we're working on. How do we balance that? And that's what the master plan helps us do.
Yeah, I think that's something similar. Recently had a conversation with the mayor of Northville, and they're going through something similar where they're realizing their population is also aging out, and so they're trying to attract younger families and people from different demographics, and so that tends to be something that they're focusing on as well. So it's interesting to hear. Now, Tia Brockaway, who we've also had on this podcast before, she's the Economic Development Director in Farmington Hills, and she recently invited us to an upcoming Farmington Hills market study event. I think it's called Bagels
and Breakfast.
That's the one.
Bagels and Breakfast.
What can you tell us? Can you tell our audience a little bit about this particular event?
I am very excited about this. Back many years ago, we used to have a How to Do Business with Farmington Hills workshop that we would have purchasing and economic development in, and the majority of the people who were coming in were small businesses, a lot of minority-owned businesses, and then during COVID that went away, and I said that needs to come back. I recently had, as part of a campaign event, a business roundtable with several dozen small businesses and talked about what is it that you need. And so this is going to be answering that. So we have a very special guest coming, Steve Anir, who is the CEO of the Kirk Gibson Parkinson's Wellness organization that we had their ribbon cutting on Monday. He's going to be our guest speaker, and he just finished a climb of Mount Kilimanjaro, which is a wow already, but he also did it. He has one leg.
Oh,
and
goodness.
So prepare to be inspired. I mean, every time I talk to Steve, it's just like, dang, girl, you have no excuses.
Wow.
And so, he's great. We're also going to be having people in from MEDC and our purchasing people and our economic development lead, Tia Brockway, because we want people to know Farmington Hills is open for business and we want you. And there's just so much opportunity. I mean, yes, we have 75 of the Fortune 500 in our city, but and I know that the most jobs are created by the small and medium-sized businesses. And so we want to encourage growth that way.
Yeah, and I think what we're also seeing in different communities, municipalities, and so on is that there's a hunger, there's a thirst from community members for that charm that comes with the small and medium-sized businesses,
Yeah.
right? Having that local charm versus it's great to have a city that has the big box stores, but there has to also be that charm that comes with the customization that happens, in a community with those local small businesses.
So that's some of the wonderful part about Farmington Hills. So in the last few years, we've had a couple of areas that have changed their character in such a good way. So for instance, Northwestern Highway is already had a lot of medical, but we've now become a medical mile from 14 miles south. On either side of the road, we have a lot of medical practices of all types, and that's where the Gibson Center recently opened. And by the way, for anybody out there with Parkinson's, someone with Parkinson's in your family, all of their services are free. And so when we talked to the Gibson people, first we said, thank you for choosing to locate here, but then we said, why? And they said, you know what, we put a pin right here and drew a half an hour. That's 2.7 million people right there. That's 80% of our region.
Wow.
Now, also about 8,000 of them have Parkinson's, and by the way, already 900 have signed up for services at the Gibson Center.
Wonderful.
Amazing.
Yeah.
But yes, so that's one area. But the other area is if you go to Orchard Lake Road, from 14 Mile and growing now down to even south of 10, we are an international food destination. And what I love about it is, we have a couple of chains, but mostly it's family owned. And any kind of ethnicity you want, we have there.
Yeah.
We have there. Are you feeling Indian food, Middle Eastern food? We have 2 premier Chinese restaurants, one on Orchard Lake, one on 12 Mile. We have the only Georgian restaurant, and I'm not talking peaches and pecans, I'm talking the country. We have the only Georgian restaurant between New York and Chicago on Orchard Lake Road, just south of 13 Mile. It's called At Anano, and 2 doors down from it is a halal wings place. I mean, that is Farmington Hills.
Love it.
Yes.
Yeah. That is unique. I do like that.
Yeah.
So real estate and housing are usually at the heart of any community. And how do you see the local real estate market shaping Farmington Hills' future, especially as families and businesses continue to relocate to Farmington Hills?
Right. We have so much opportunity in the city. I look forward to seeing us doing some redevelopment. I look forward to seeing more affordability. I mean, we have to. We just have to. I look forward to more walkable. And and placemaking. So we have we're about to sign the contract for development on Orchard Lake and 14 Mile. And so what's going in there is going to be a boutique Meyer, I guess. It's grocery and pharma only, with a Total Wine, with a Nordstrom Rack, with another biggish store, and then where there used to be parking lot, look forward to 2 good-sized outbuildings that will have a Cava and a Five Guys and a First Watch and that sort of thing. But then in terms of housing, we need to be able to work a little bit more creatively, and I personally believe we need to work on increasing density because we need the projects to pencil out. And that's where we get into a push-pull with the community. Because I don't know about you, but I've never had a development come in front of me where people said, oh, what a great idea, take this space and build right by my house. And invariably we're going to hear, you can't have that because it's too much density, it's going to impact the traffic, it's going to hurt my property values. And we debunk every single one of those myths. But it's tough.
It is. It's a balancing act.
But the other thing I think we need to do is a better job on eliminating red tape. and in terms of development and in terms of building.
Now,
And
when you say a better job of it, is that kind of a way of saying that right now there are a lot of hurdles that have been acknowledged, or is it that there can always be better?
there can always be better.
Yeah.
There can always be better. And so, in a second term, I want to challenge the city manager to work on what can we do to make us even more business friendly.
Yeah, yeah. So community engagement seems central to your leadership.
Yes.
And how do you ensure that residents feel heard and included in shaping the city's direction, where the future is, and kind of where it's heading?
Sure. When I came in the door, most of our boards and commissions were of a similar demographic, largely white, largely older. And so I promised that I would diversify our boards and commissions. Now, why do we care? We care because the boards and commissions are the feeder pool for who's going to be on council, who's going to be mayor, who's going to be our state rep, who's going to be our county commissioner. Almost everybody who's running or serves started that way. And so I said we are going to be very aggressive in recruiting. And so I've now made at least 50 appointments of people who were never engaged in government voice. And so these boards and commissions, whether it's Parks and Rec or Commission on Aging or Community Health, they're the ones who help inform us and council of what are they seeing in the community. And so by now diversifying our boards and commissions so that we look demographically very much like the city, then that helps us bring voice. And, in our city, you can only be mayor for 2 consecutive 2-year terms, and then you're done. So I'm looking at it as I have a maximum of 1,471 days, starting 2 years ago, to come in, do the job, build the bench, and get out of the way. And so by bringing in more voice, that's in my eyes building the bench the way we need to be.
Yeah, I can almost envision you're planting the seeds that are going to sprout up and grow throughout the city.
Well, there's a saying that the role of a leader is to plant trees that she will never sit under, and that's what I'm trying to do.
Nice. Yeah, you've kind of answered my next question, which was how important is diversity in a community like Farmington Hills, and so I think you've checked that one off.
Yeah, I think we're good.
On a lighter note, what's one of your favorite places to spend time in Farmington Hills that residents or even visitors should know about?
Wow, you're like asking me to choose which is my favorite child. All right, let me do one that I think you probably wouldn't think to go to, and that is our city hall.
Oh, okay.
And I'll tell you why.
Yeah,
our
please.
city hall is a LEED gold standard building, and in fact, if you go there in the wintertime, we don't shovel or have to salt the front of our building because of geothermal heat. We have a living roof. We have, just all sorts of great things. But the other part, not beyond the environmental, and environmental is so very important, but beyond that, it's also an art gallery. And so I already talked about how cultural arts plays such a role. We were the first city in Michigan to have a full-time employee that works in cultural arts. Okay. And so we have every 2 years a call for art, and all the art in City Hall, there are about 165 pieces on loan, are done by local artists. Okay. And it's very stiff competition to be able to show at City Hall. And so every 2 years we totally replace, and right now we have a call for art out. So any artists out there, give us a call. But it's, if you have a rainy day and you just want it somewhere with a little piece, that's a nice walkthrough.
Nice. That is good. Maybe that's what I'm doing this weekend.
There you go. Well, no,
closed on the weekends.
If you want to see art in Farmington Hills on the weekend, go to the Hawk.
Got it.
Yep.
The hawk it is. So now we're going to transition slightly into what I call the quick fire round.
Oh boy.
So this is fun.
Okay.
And the objective here, I'm going to ask you a quick question.
Okay.
You respond with a quick answer.
I'm a lawyer. You're killing me. Okay.
All right. Ready?
Yep.
Coffee or tea?
Coffee with cardamom and cinnamon.
Oh, look at you. Favorite Detroit sports team?
Detroit City Football Club. City.
Ooh, okay.
Yes. Yes.
All right.
Season ticket holder for 3 years now.
Nice.
Yeah.
Excited about the new stadium?
Love it.
Nice.
Yes.
One word you'd use to describe Farmington Hills?
Destination.
If you weren't mayor for a day, what would you be doing instead?
Traveling.
Hidden gem in Farmington Hills that you think more people should discover?
Come to the Hawk. We have performing arts like nobody's business and a makerspace.
Love it. You answered those like a champ. That was amazing. That was honestly one of the fastest rounds we've done. So you probably get the trophy for that. So before we wrap up, I do have a final question for you. If you could leave listeners with one message about the marvelous things happening in Farmington Hills, what would that one message be?
Farmington Hills is home. It is welcoming. It is safe. It is wanting you. And so if you're not in Farmington Hills yet, you need to be. And if you're not ready to be, come spend money.
There we go. Well, Mayor, thank you so much for taking the
you.
time
This was
spending
great.
it with us here today. We really appreciate you. And to our listeners, thank you. And don't forget to subscribe, like, share, leave us a review. And as always, we'll see you on the next episode. Thank you.
Bye, everyone.